And you're welcome back. On May 21st, 2025, Christian youths in Abuja staged a peaceful protest to decry the surge in cyber attacks and online harassment targeting religious leaders. The demonstrators, under the banner of the Concerned Christian Youth Forum, CCYF, demanded an end to what they described as deliberate and well-funded campaigns aimed at discrediting Christian clerics and undermining the faith. Now, they called on the Nigerian government to take decisive action to protect religious freedom and curb the rising tide of digital abuse directed at spiritual leaders. The protest also highlighted broader concerns about religious discrimination and the marginalisation of Christian communities in Nigeria. The Northern Christian Youth Professionals, that's the NCYP, led by chairperson, and that's Isaac Abrak, have previously expressed disappointment over the exclusion of Christians from key governmental appointments, such as the governing body of the Northwest Development Commission. Now, these actions, they argue, reflect a pattern of systemic neglect and call for more inclusive representation to ensure national unity and equity.
So to delve deeper into these pressing issues, we are joined by Aisha Salihu, who brought us that report, News Central Correspondent, and also Isaac Abrak, Chairman of the Northern Christian Youth Professionals. Their insight into this matter will shed light on the challenges faced by Christian communities in Nigeria and the steps needed to address them. Mr. Abrak, you're welcome. Thank you very much for joining us. Mr. Isaac Abrak, are you with us? Unfortunately, I think we do not have Mr. Isaac at the moment, and we might have lost connection with Aisha Salihu. We're going to try and reconnect with the... Aisha is back with us. Aisha, are you back with us?
Yes, I am. Good morning, Mazino.
Good morning. Thank you very much, Aisha. Now, Aisha, let's talk about the protests. I was on the news with you where you brought us the information right there in Abuja. Could you please, first of all, recount what had happened on that occasion?
Okay, thank you so much, Mazina, for having me this morning. I actually followed the protest from the venue of the protest, the Unity Fountain, where the place government has designated for protest in Abuja. And I saw these people, the concerned Christian youth, they came out in their numbers, raising the issues they had, and then they were calling out to the government to look at these issues. And part of these issues would be they are talking about persistent campaign of defamation and slander on the Christian faith and also the Christian leaders. And this, they allege, is being perpetrated by human rights activists Omoyele Sowore and other collaborators. They said they had carried out their investigations over the years, and they have seen this trend. It's not an isolated event. It's something that has happened over and over and over again. They keep seeing online campaigns, misinformation about Christian leaders and the Christian faith. And it's now looking like it's a fight against the church. It's a fight against what Christianity stands for. And they said they have been keeping quiet. They have been patient about this trend, but then it's now beginning to look like they're being taken for a ride. They're being taken for fools. So they then decided to come out to call the attention of government to this. Perhaps the government is not seeing this. They have seen this as an opportunity to come out and call the government using the media platform, of course, the same media platform that they alleged, social media platform. They said this particular individual, Omoyele Sowore, human rights activist, is they allege he's sponsoring people, some persons in Nigeria, especially the young people, against the church, against religious leaders. And then these were the issues they raised. And they came out en masse calling out on the government to see to it that they put a stop to this particular activity by this group of persons. I mean, human rights activist Omoyele Sowore and his collaborators. Anyways, this is alleged.
Okay, all right. Mr. Isaac, do we have you back on now?
Mr. James, actually. No, we don't, unfortunately.
Hello, good
Mr.
morning.
Abra, can you hear me?
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Hello?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Good morning, James.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. I mean, let's just also get your own, context to the recent protest by Christian youths in Abuja. There are many specifics that have been called regarding this protest, and one of them is that there have not been appointments, leadership, Christians in leadership role, especially with the Northeast Development Center. We've also heard about, saying that there were targeted campaigns against Christian leaders on social media. What do you make of these claims?
Okay, I will just go straight to that of the social media. The hazard of social media attacks on Christian faith to us has assumed a worrisome dimension. Because more worrisome it is because these attacks are consistently targeting our Christian leaders, okay, and it has crossed the bound of what is acceptable to us. Because we've been keeping quiet for a very long time, and we all know that everybody have right to religious freedom as enshrined in our constitution. And so in a situation whereby a particular religion is an object of attack and it continues that way, then for us, it now calls for a concern. Because at first, we're taking note of all this attack, and we just felt, okay, maybe these are just, okay, but later we discovered that it is beyond content, okay? A situation whereby it grows from content creating to physically leading a protest against a church. And then we now look at it and say, no, I think we should, it's time we begin to respond to some of these things. Thank you.
And so what has been, the response to this protest that have been staged in Abuja so far? Have you heard from any government officials, from CAN, leadership at CAN as well? What's been their response like?
Okay, during the protest, we have a representative from the National Assembly who were there. Then we also have representative from the executive arm of government, okay, because like I say, religion is the very fabric of society, and anything that touches religion touches the very fabric of society. And so for now, we haven't heard anything from the government, any like CAN or any. We haven't heard anything for now. But this is just to say that we are also ready to ensure that our voice is being heard, even if it is calling for a national protest or something that will make government know that we are very serious about this matter. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. James. Rukia, let me come back to you. Rather, Aisha, let me come back to you. Aisha, there were two protests on the day, if I'm not mistaken. There were two different Christian groups. Can you please clarify exactly which one was which and what the two different demands might have been from these two groups? Okay, no, it was one Christian group, and yes, two protests that day, but just one Christian group, and it's the concerned youth, concerned Christian Youth Forum, just like the conveners. There was a bit of police involvement where they were displaced from the Unity Fountain, wasn't there? Well, no, the one at the Unity Fountain was heavily guarded by the police. As a matter of fact, they coordinated the whole protest. There was no form of dispersal of the youth because it was coordinated. We had security operatives there and they coordinated the whole activity. But I think the one you may be referring to would be what happened at the gate of the National Assembly, where the indigenous residents of the FCT staged the protest, yes. Okay. Mr. James, I think you wanted to have a word in there. Am I correct?
Come again, please.
I thought you wanted to say something from before while I was asking Aisha those questions, but that's okay. So, Mr. James, Now, if there is no reaction from the authorities regarding this, what would be the next step of the group? What would you do? What would you organize next? And how would you bring your demands to the ears that need to hear it?
Okay, thank you very much. Our next step is going to be a national protest, like I've said, because we are determined that we must be heard. We must be heard because even what we are doing presently is in the interest of national security. We don't want a situation whereby this whole thing will escalate and then it becomes a religious crisis. That is what we are trying. Are high as we speak now. Emotions are high. Our youth are no longer happy with what is happening, and so we are for the government to hear us, and also to I must also say that if at all we have no response from anywhere, there are processes we want to start. Sending maybe a reminder, a letter to Mr. President, a letter to the Attorney General of the Federation, because he is the custodian of our law, and then also a letter to the National Assembly. And then from there, if there is no further response, then of course we'll call for a national protest. We'll call for a national protest. Thank you.
And so I have to ask, right? One of the things that that comes to fore when we think about the demands from this protest by organizations and like-minded individuals was that there were no appointments of Christians in the leadership role, especially for the Northern Development, that's the NDDC, if I'm correct, or the NEDC. And so it begs to ask the question, if we're to address that, what would that address look like? What would a remedy or the preferred solutions, what would that solution look like that would, you know, meet the demands of the protests?
Okay, for me, maybe I think there's a misinformation here concerning appointments, okay, because our protest was not about appointments. Our protest is about putting an end to the incessant attacks on our faith, on our people, and on our leaders. That is the aim of our protest. And when you talk about appointment, in all fairness, I think in this administration, there are a lot of Christians that are appointed into several positions, like you have the SGF, which is Secretary to the Government of the Federation. He is a Christian. And also, you have several others. The EFCC chairman is a Christian. The Inspector General of Police is a Christian. And several others that are appointed into several positions. But that is not to say that we have it how it's supposed to be. No. I'm also using this opportunity to also call up much as it can too, to also consider bringing in more Christians into positions that will be able to help his administration. The other people, for instance, the other religions too, like Muslims and others, like you have them, of course, they are also helping. But for me, I'm advocating that, yes, bring in more Christians to be able to solve the problem. Thank you.
Let me ask you, looking at the visuals from the protests there were placards calling for the persecution of Showore. Why?
Okay, thank you so much. That's where I've been expecting. You see, the issue with Showore is that, number one, he talks anyhow. There was a time a clip was brought to my attention where Showore stated that all pastors are non-entities. All pastors are illiterates. It's because they don't have work. And that is why they are going the route of pastorship and all of those stuff. And then there is this one eyewitness with my two-face. There is a particular church in Abuja where in the last administration, the church closed from service and people were trooping out in their numbers. And the next thing is that we saw a particular group of people who came out. And then the next thing was they brought out a banner and it was the then president, Buhari must go, in the midst of thousands of people who were coming out of church. And then someone called the attention of the security and said, look at what is happening, look at what do you call it, the government against the church.
So are you asking
this group of persons?
Yeah, are you asking that he be persecuted for free speech? Because if he makes comments or says things about leaders, you know, that's free speech. He's exercising his free speech to say whatever it is. He didn't name names. He didn't name names. He didn't name any names. He didn't defame anyone. He just made a comment. So should he be persecuted for his comments because he talks anyhow?
I am asking that he be prosecuted for hate speech.
For hate speech.
You know, when you say he didn't mention names, that is not true. If you go to his social media handles, you will know, you will see where he mentions the name of Pastor E.A. Adeboye, where he mentions the name of Dr. Pastor Paul Enenche, where he mentioned the name of Dr. D.K. Olukoya of Mountain of Fire, and several others. Now, this is to also let you know that I have interfaced with him at the Force Intelligence Department several times, because a lot of these defamation cases and cyberbullying, we take it upon ourselves to go arrest these people, bring them and speak to them in the language that they will understand, for them to know that, number one, it's not everything that is content creating. And then number two, you are talking about religion here, and it's not something anybody would like to play with, because watching someone attacking your faith is a harrowing experience. And so we talk, the first, second, third time we interface, you know, we speak, the Jade was there, and he can bear me witness. Okay, we talked at length, and then there is this issue of, what do you call it, Zio Gunsayo, one seeking boy that went to arrest, who was calling an 83-year-old man, Pastor Iya Adeboye, a fool.
So why isn't
insulting?
I mean, the Christian youth, there's so much that the Christian youth have to deal with, right? If he has made comments like this to these individuals that you have named, I think according to the law, it is them that should go to the courts, and it should be a civil matter and or a defamation case, and has nothing to do with an entire organization. There's so much more that they have to worry about when it concerns the youth at this time, at a time where there's a cost of living crisis, and so on and so forth. Why is this a bone of contention for the entirety of Christian youth in the North?
Okay, thank you so much. This is not about even the entirety of Christian youth in the North. This is about the entirety of Christian youth in the nation as a whole, both west, south, north, east, everywhere. Because, you see, we hold our religious leaders in high esteem. And then, reverting back to the issue of why not take him to court, okay, well, where his own came in was coming to stand as sureties for people we are arresting. And why are we arresting these people? Why not going straight to court? The answer is very simple. There was a time I brought to the attention of the Jade and said, look, there's this particular guy. I sent him the video, and I said, look at this video very well. What should you do? He said, yes, let's write the guy. Let's take the guy to court. And then the next thing is that, okay, fine. Yeah, they asked me, do you have the number of the guy? I don't have. Do you have his address? I don't have his address. So if you take him to court, how do you serve him the court papers? And so it is now left for us to go and, you know, do what we need to do to dig out the guy. And by God's grace, we were able to test of the guy, and the guy was picked up because we don't have tracking equipment. It is the work of the police to do so. And besides, it is our right, whenever we have any issue, to make a complaint to the police.
Oh,
and
Paul
that is what we are doing.
Mr. Paul James, we only have a few seconds before the news at the top of the hour, but we want to say thank you very much for giving us your insights into this critical matter. We'll continue to follow the story, and hopefully there will be a resolution. Aisha, thank you very much as well. I had questions for you, but unfortunately we have run out of time. But maybe I'll bring them to you on a different occasion. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, lady.